much ever as far as history of the programs.
Welcome into the Elias Game Plan. Anita Marks back with you with two of the best from Elias. Rob Tracy joining us. Rob, man, look at you, dapper. You clean up well, dude. What, like big time now.
Not my choice.
No?
Clearly not his choice, no.
Nice.
And Frank LaBombarda, who's joining us as well. So, guys, let's dive into it. It is March Madness. We are in the thick of it. Unfortunately, we're towards the tail end of it. Are we not, right? We know who the Final Four are, and they're going to be in action on the hardwood on Saturday. And we're here to talk about who we think is going to win in advance. And by the end of this segment, we will have a champion for you. So let's kick it off. We know first and foremost, we got Villanova going up against Kansas. Kansas right now is favored by 4. The over/under is at 133. They're the only one seed that's still alive. They won the Big 12. They outscored UM 47-15 in the second half, which was uber impressive. Remy Martin, to me, has been the elixir. I mean, when you've got a six-man coming off the bench, scoring 20 points, it's just ridiculous. Strong backcourt, deep roster. And by the way, Villanova, this is interesting to me, only shot 29% against Houston, but still won because Houston went 1 for 20 from downtown. And I've really buried the lead here. And for me, I think Justin Moore and that Achilles injury is going to be a big hit for Villanova. He's second in scoring points. He averages 15 a game for them, as well as third in assists and third in rebounding. He averages 5 rebounds a game. So with that being said, Frank, let's go to you. Break it down for us. Who do you like coming out of this matchup?
Well, I mean, before Moore's injury, that's going to hurt them. I thought they probably could have kept it close, and then, like as you see the whole tournament, you keep it close at the end, anything can happen. But now with this injury, I think that just sort of cements Kansas's ticket to the championship game. It's funny that you mentioned that 47-15 second half. That was the largest second half margin in any tournament game outside of the first weekend, which is just goes to show you how that was just dominant, and that's why I like Kansas now moving forward a little bit more, because it seems like they're getting their swagger, so to speak. Their offense is clicking. Their defense is even stepping up. Their 3-point D, last 2 games, 7 for 44, they've held their opponents, which is, that's Villanova is going to need that to get, if they want to get it past this game, they're going to need to hit a lot of threes. And they're shooting better too, Kansas. Their offense is clicking. So I thought Villanova would have been able to keep it close. I still thought, even with more, I think Kansas wins. Now I just think that they're going to win bigger. Nova's only chances if they keep Kansas slow. You have to slow them down as much as possible, but I still don't think that's going to be enough. Kansas they're just too good right now. But I think it's going to be on the lower end affair.
Rob, don't you think it's interesting? And just to go back to that Villanova-Houston game, right? Like Houston, better field goal percentage. Like Houston pretty much statistically outperformed Villanova, but because they went 1 for 20 from downtown and they missed 5 of their 5 last shots, they missed 10 of their last 12 shots, they lost. And Villanova was the team that advanced, right?
But part of that is losing Moore is their best straight defensive player. So losing him now, I just don't see how it's, even if they play a slow, they have nobody off the bench now. Caleb Daniels has to step in to the start. They have literally nobody with any experience off the bench. So you're going to play 5 guys for 40 minutes. You're going to have to play old school 4 corners, slow down, and hope and pray that you hit some shots. I just don't see, like you said, Kansas is deep.
Right.
Talented.
They're going to run them out, right?
I just think if Bill, I'm not telling Bill Self what to do, but you got to run.
Why not? Why not? You tell everybody else what to do, so why not Bill Self?
You have to run them to death. You can't just play their game. You have to make them work hard, and I think they'll get exhausted second half. I just don't think they can play with them at all. I think it's amazing to me that this was the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 was the lowest scoring 2 rounds. Those 2 rounds since '85, back when Georgetown and St. John's and Villanova played, back when it was a completely different game. I just don't. And either game. I think this game too. I think Kansas isn't their season low is 62. If Villanova can hold them to 62, I still don't think they win. So I just don't. I think it's going to be a big. I think Kansas is going to not easily, but I think they'll wear them out.
Yeah, second half.
So both of you have Kansas rolling here big time, and it's interesting. I know we talk a lot about defense. That really has been the theme, I feel, in this March Madness, right? You know, we always love basketball teams, college basketball teams that score a lot of points, but really the teams that have won and advanced are the ones that are playing great defense. Now, the game that everybody's going to be waiting for, that's UNC going up against Duke. Duke favored by 4.5. The over-under is at 151. Guys, I don't know about you. I am shocked. I'll use the word shocked. Not a lot of things shock me, but I am shocked that this is the first time that UNC and Duke will have faced each other in March Madness in the history of their programs. That's, to me, that's like when I first heard that and read that, I was like, no, that can't be true. And I went back and it absolutely is. It's really unbelievable. It's like my brain exploded. This is a rubber match, as we know. They each have a win against each other on each other's own home court. I feel like this North Carolina team, their offense has been epic. You talk about the 3-pointers that Kansas has been able to contest defensively. 43 pointers for UNC in 4 games. It's just really, really unbelievable. They're playing, in my opinion, some of the best offense. And also, don't you feel like they're coming in with some swag here? I mean, they took care of you. They put up 94 points against Duke on senior night on Duke's home court.
Right.
So
Coach K's last game at Cameron. Right.
That's right. Yep. And one last thing before we get to you, and Frank, we'll go to you first, and that is, coming into this tournament, the biggest concern for Duke was their defense, ranked 44th in the country. Granted, their defense has played a lot better in this tournament than they did prior to coming in. Of course, we saw them lose to Virginia Tech as well in the ACC championship. But with that being said, Frank, who do you got here? Who do you got winning? Who do you have advancing?
Well, I hate to say it, but I got Duke advancing. I mean, Bacot's he's been just an animal on the boards. He's got 53 rebounds in his last 3 games. That's like Tim Duncan-esque, that's Hakeem-esque. Those are the last 2 guys to do that over 3 games. So just to give you a little sense of how good he's been lately. And Duke's been shooting lights out. 50%, they're shooting better than 50% all 4 games. That's the last team to do that more than 4 games was 91 Duke. So that just goes to show you how it's just not natural to shoot this well game in, game out during the NCAA tournament. Like you said, you're always facing, you're facing all kinds of different defenses, and for them to continue, and they face some tough defenses so far this tournament, and they're shooting lights out. And I don't think UNC's shooting as well as they have been. They've held on to the ball, which has been good. Their turnovers have been down, certainly helped them. Their offense has just been, I keep going back to that Baylor game, and like the second half of that second half where they just look terrible. And then they come out into overtime, and they still managed to pull that game off. And I was like, well, that just changed my mind about UNC. But I still think the end of this game is going to be a lot of points. It's going to come down to free throws at the end. And Duke has been insane from the line. 86% from the free throw line this tournament, which is just, it's like you don't miss. 86% is crazy. And North Carolina come into this tournament as one of the top free throw shooting teams. They haven't even been that good as Duke has been. So I think Duke wins a close one. I think the free throws will help them, but I think a lot of points are going to be scored here. I mean, both teams, if both teams get in the 80 range, I'll say I wouldn't be surprised.
I think honestly, I think this is going to come down to Trevor Keels against Puff Johnson. We're literally the only 2 guys that have coming off the bench. It's amazing. Carolina scored 2 points each of the last 2 games off the bench. It's amazing to me programs of this stature have 0 bench players in these games. And Trevor Keels was a starter earlier in the year before being replaced in the starting lineup. He's ridiculously good. To me, I think
Don't waffle.
I said this. I didn't waffle. I'm sticking with Duke because I picked Duke before. And I picked Nova in Kansas, and I was the only one who was behind Duke and Coach K winning. You guys both made fun of me for saying you're winning it for Coach K, and guess what? They're winning it for Coach K. and I think it has the chance of being the best Duke Carolina game ever, given the makeup. There's 10
the
NBA
importance
players,
of it, right?
What?
The importance of it. I mean, that.
Right.
I mean, they played a lot of ACC finals.
There's 10 NBA players going to be on the court most of that game.
Yeah.
I think the only chance Carolina has, Brady Manick has to have a humongous game in his 15th year in college. He's got to be like he's Van Wilder.
But I did.
Right. He reminds me of Ed Spriggs for Georgetown in '82. He was like 26 years old, was a postman, came back and played for Georgetown in the Final Four. But he can, because he is really hard to guard on the exterior and the interior. He's tough. He's he's their chance. Like to me, he's the wild card for Carolina. But I think it's history. I think 91 Duke, Kansas, 57 Carolina, Kansas, 16 Nova, Carolina. There's a lot of like all these combinations. These three of these four teams played in the 91 Final Four. Like this is the best Final Four we've seen pretty much ever as far as history of the programs. And apart from the more injury, competition-wise, I think it would have been the same thing. It would have been fantastic. I think it would have been fantastic 2 games. But I think you got to remember, too, these kids are, apart from Manick, very young. Both, there's a lot of young kids here. They make mistakes, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. There's a lot of mistakes that are made that, when they're 25 and 26 in the NBA, they're not going to make. But here, anything can happen. But I think the Coach K Magic's going to get his 6th, and, I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
So both of you have Kansas and Duke advancing. You feel Kansas is going to be potentially a blowout. Do you think that Duke and UNC is going to be a close game? Do you think it's going to come down to the wire, or? Yeah,
I think it's going to come right down. It could go to overtime. I think it got potential to be.
That would be.
That's again free throw. Like Frank said, free throws. They both hit their free throws. So
yeah,
if there's any close, they both hit threes. They both hit their free throws. I can. If you ever had to call an overtime game, this is it.
Okay, so you both have Duke, you both have Kansas advancing.
It's amazing because we never agree on everything.
I know, we never agree.
Oh.
Well, you're agreeing. You're agreeing today.
Sometimes we disagree on purpose, just because we like to do that.
Well, let's see if you agree on who's going to be crowned champion.
I think we do.
So, Rob, let's go to you first.
Well, initially I had Kansas in this game. Now that Gonzaga was out, I was thinking, Kansas, but I'm not a Duke fan, but I think, again, I'm going to go with the Coach K thing. If they beat Carolina, they win. I don't see it going any other way. I think it's a repeat of 91.
See, here Frank? We got it. Finally, we disagree.
Right.
See, but the problem is, though, this is one thing that I got to say. Now, if I change my name to Marty McFly, I got my DeLorean, and I hit that little odometer thing, whatever they have there, and set it to Tuesday. Went to Tuesday, watched it, figured out all the scores of these games. Came back to today, I still get them all wrong. So just to get a little sense of where my history is, that's part of it. But I say Kansas. I just think that they're gelling at the right time. I think Duke has been great all tournament, but I think Kansas is the most complete team, offense, defense. Like Rob said, they're deep. It'll be a tough matchup for Duke. You go into a final, anything can happen, especially when you're talking about 2 really good teams. But I give Kansas the edge.
And Kansas has made the final each of the last 2 times the tournament was in New Orleans. The Final Four was in New Orleans, and they lost both games. No. Syracuse and Boeheim in 2003, and then in 2013 to Kentucky.
But look, I told you I went to Tuesday in my DeLorean, and Kansas won. So
don't throw out any kind of voodoo stuff here, Rob. Okay, all right. But great stuff, gentlemen. As always, before we do sign off, Frank, you want to give a shout out.
I got to give a birthday shout out. 2 brothers. Not only are they part of my family, but they're also part of the Elias family. My older brother John had a birthday last week. He is 2 years old. And my other older brother, who's in the middle, his birthday is next week. So I wanted to wish them both a happy birthday. And I want to thank my mother for waiting 20 years before having me, just so that I'm not an old geezer like the 2 of them. But
you're hilarious.
Happy birthday, brothers.
Happy birthday, Frank and Rob. Thank you so much. Hopefully, we've done a great job breaking it down for you, getting you ready for the Final Four, and of course the championship. We appreciate you tuning into the Elias Game Plan. We still have more videos coming your way next week. Don't forget the Masters, an experience like any other. Rob, I know you and I, as well as Randy Robles, we can't wait to break that down for you as well. So stay tuned for that. Everybody, good luck in the tournament.